Right, we've reached the end of the 1970s in Stephen King's collective works, and before we flip into the 80s, I wanted to do a rundown of my rankings of all of King's works while the years still had a 7 in them, from the very best to Rage and everything else in between. This is 1970s King Ranked. Hi everyone, I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram, and thank you for coming back to my channel. I really do appreciate you checking it out. Now, as I said in the intro, this video is slightly different to what I usually do. Normally, I'm taking you through Stephen King's works in chronological order and giving you 19 reasons to reach each one. But with my last video on the Dead Zone, we reached the end of the 1970s, so I thought it would be fun and a bit different for me to count down my own personal ranking of everything he did in the 70s. So that's what we're going to do. Now, this is mainly for fun and is very much my personal rankings. So basically what I'm saying here is, don't get too pissy if your favourite isn't as high as you think it should be. This is my list, okay? So including Bachman books, there are 8 total books to go through from the 70s. So let's start at the bottom and work our way up to the top. No surprises what's taking the bottom spot. Yep, it's Rage. Now, there's definitely a kernel of something good and something interesting here, but overall, it's too messy, it's too angry, and it's just not very good. We won't be getting it on again anytime soon. Now, my pick for 7th spot is Carrie. Now, this feels a bit blasphemous, putting a book as awesome as Carrie so far down the list, but that's just the price you have to pay when you look at how good King's output was in the 70s in general, apart from Rage, of course. But let that take nothing away from this book. It is superb, and it still packs a punch all these years later. In at number 6 is The Stand. Yes, The Stand. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. You're probably already reaching for the comments, going to tell me how good The Stand is, how important it is, and how people are going to be reading it for the rest of time all over the world, and I totally agree with you. But as I said at the start, this is my list, and I just don't think it's that good. It's really overlong, it's pretty overrated, it's ambitious, sure, but I genuinely believe everything else in this list is much better than The Stand. See you in the comments. Okay, top 5 then, and this is where it starts to get tricky to really sort these placings out. For this video, I've gone for The Long Walk, although if you ask me again next week, it could easily trade places with the book I've put in number 4. Anyway, The Long Walk is fucking amazing, especially when you remember that King wrote it as a teenager. It's a compelling story, an interesting hook, and it's arguably some of the best character work he has ever done. This isn't just his best Bachman book, it's one of his best novels, full stop. In at number 4, I've plumped for Night Shift, his first short story collection, and a perfect example of what an incredibly varied writer Stephen King is. Anything that can have stories with the range of The Boogeyman, to The Woman in the Room, to The Last Rung on the Ladder, to Strawberry Spring, to Grey Matter, and all of the rest deserves to be on the shelves of readers everywhere. Also, it's the perfect starting point for anyone wanting to get into King. There's loads here to get your teeth into, and if you like the stuff in here, then there's plenty of other places to go afterwards. Check out my Stephen King starter kit for more ideas of where to get going with the Master of Horror. In at number 3 for me, again, just is The Shining. Aside from being a great haunted house story, King's own personal demons at the time of writing this just fly out of the pages at you and hit you square in the face. And the book is such a wildly different experience of the Overlook Hotel to the Kubrick movie. You really do have to read it. This book is amazing. Simple as. My choice for King's second best book of the 70s is Salem's Lot. His take on the vampire tale is stunning, and it's the first time we really get to see him build worlds and create towns that we feel like we're living in, full of dark secrets, darker people, and plenty of sex, death and violence, with loads of intertwining stories that unfold over the few hundred pages in this book. And for me, it just edges The Shining because the scary parts linger that bit longer in the memory. People at the window, suckling sounds, people not leaving footprints, the school bus full of little biters. I could go on. So that leaves, as you already knew, my all-time favourite, The Dead Zone. I'm not going to repeat myself from my last video. If you want to know more about why I love this book so much, go and watch that. All you need to know is this is my absolute favourite. I loved it on the first read, and I still love it now, and I'll probably love it forevermore. a worthy champion. Okay, that concludes my ranking of 1970s King. Please do let me know your rankings in the comments. Also, feel free to hit me up on Instagram where I'm at Dave Musson, and maybe even join me for a quiz sometime. Oh, and don't forget, the music playing in the background of this video is by my band Chapter 19. It's our song Stephen, which is about Stephen King. If you don't hate it, then why not check it out on Spotify? There's a link below. There's also a link below to the video we made for the song, where we managed to cram in more than 60 references to different Stephen King stories in one music video. Go and watch it, let me know how many you spot. Other than that, thanks so much for stopping by. I'll be back next time with our first step into 80s King. Yep, it's Firestarter. Catch you soon.